Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and I want to welcome you to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm talking to John Butt from London in the UK, who has written a book called Tragedy, Trauma, and Triumph. John, welcome.
Well, how you doing, mate? All right.
Doing really well. So, you're not a professional author. Actually,
I'm
you're a
not.
businessman, aren't you? You own your
I
own
am.
business. When did you start your business?
Crikey. I actually started when I was 15, so over
Wow.
30 odd years ago. But the business I've got, so in the same profession, but the business I'm in now, 15 years.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you started the business. I mean, how was it starting a business?
Um, I didn't really know anything else actually because I've never had a job, so I've only ever worked for myself. So um, I just, I'd always when I was young, being able to I'd go and clean cars and earn money or go golf balling, and I think it was just a natural progression. I started when I was 15, so it's a commercial flooring business. I
Yeah.
started when I was 15, helping some people out in my street, and then I did that for about a year. Picked up some tools and learnt a bit, and then sort of went on my own, and yeah, been doing that ever since.
Amazing. So
Yeah,
so you're a business owner
yeah,
doing commercial flooring,
yeah,
but you've written a book. I mean,
yeah.
what happened? Where did that come from?
Exactly. Yeah, I had no. It was never on my radar to write a book, which I share in the book. But I actually left school at 13, so I never got an education. So I'd never really written before. Um, yeah, not much of an education. So writing is not something I've ever did. But 7 years ago, I went to a conference. So I'm a Christian. I went to a Christian conference, and over a period of a few days, over seven people came up to me after conversations, in the coffee and tea breaks, and said, "You should write a book." And I'm like, "You guys are nuts! Like I can't even read my own handwriting. How am I going to write a book?" You know. But but people kept saying it to me again and again. So I went away, and I've got more faith in God than I have in myself. So I wrote these down, these prophetic words that you should write a book. And for 7 years now, I do daily declarations, and every morning I've been saying, I have a great story that will encourage and change lives. I'm a great book writer. I'm able and equipped to write a book. Now I've been saying this for 7 years. I haven't believed it. I still say it every morning now, and I'm still like, "Who are you talking about?" But kept pushing in, and yeah, here I am 7 years later. I was fortunate enough to meet you, and here we are. Yeah.
Wow. So we met. I was talking at an event about how to write your book in 100 days, and you didn't quite believe it though, did you, John?
I'm still pinching myself now. I was like, yeah, I thought by writing books takes like 3 4 years, and you go off into a little cabin somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and that's how you write a book. I had no idea. So it's yeah, it's been a journey.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Uh, uh, and what was it about the writing my book course that helped you?
For sure, I would say it was how it's broken down into smaller pieces. Because the thought of writing a book frightened the life out of me. I was like, where would you start? Even writing with a ghostwriter, or even the thought of it was very overwhelming. But after I heard you speak and you explain how it's broken down, I think that it become manageable,
Mm.
and each step seemed okay and encouraged you to do the next step.
Yeah,
So I've definitely, because it was broken down in pieces for sure.
yeah, yeah. And so, John, tell us what your book's about. I mean, tragedy, trauma, triumph.
Mm.
Give us a little insight. Come on, give us a
It's
taster.
it's what it says on the tin, pretty much. So I was born into a family with of alcoholic parents, and my life there was lots of trauma. I lost my sister as my main carer at an early age at 4, um, and really I didn't realize until older in life, but I just grew up in a traumatic atmosphere of drink and drugs and violence, and yeah. So and that led on to other things. You know, you don't know what you don't know. And I grew up on a state on a council estate in sort of South London, bordering on Kent. And I just, you know, you go to what you've got around you. So I just sort of grew in that environment, and it led on to other things. And yeah, so it started with trauma. It started with tragedy, sorry. And but then there was lots of trauma around that, and that led on to other things. So it's a sort of story of where I started and some of the things I'd been through, and what led me on to other things that weren't so healthy in my life. And then of me first becoming a Christian, meeting Jesus, and how my life's turned around. So I'm still work in progress, but my life, I'm not where I was for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and so, how do you feel that your book is now published, John? And
Mm.
anybody anywhere in the world can buy a copy of your book. How does that feel?
It. I'm still having to pinch myself to actually believe that it's been a miracle, I must say. Like, it's from somebody, I'm diagnosed with dyslexia, ADHD. I've got no education. I've never wrote. I didn't even know when I started how you'd set out to write a letter, or you know, how you would set it out. And to be here now uh, with a published book is nothing short of a miracle. Like, I mean, I know that sounds a bit much, but literally, I've not wrote a page in my life. I've never thought about writing. It's not something I've ever done. I honestly didn't believe I could write a book.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
you said you left school at 13.
13 years of age, yeah.
Did you do any exams or anything, or did
No,
you
I've
try it
never
out?
sat an exam. I went to school for the first year. Uh, so I did nearly a year at school, and then I didn't go again. And what I didn't know then at the time is I was, you know, I was suffering the death from my parents and my sister, and all this stuff that happened back then. They didn't know about ADHD or dyslexia. So all this stuff was going on, which I had no idea about as a boy and as a teenager. And I just didn't go to school. You know, I would rather go. I remember getting my mum's error one day and getting that and buying some wrapping paper, and I'd set it up in the shopping centre and sell wrapping paper. And so I was always sort of ducking and diving and earning a few quid, but I wasn't at school.
Wow. And so to say it's a miracle, it really does feel like a miracle for you.
It really does feel like a miracle. I
And
mean, and to write a book in that amount of time, like I say, I thought this is a year's process. It's it for me. I know it's a miracle. I really believe, you know, God's been in this book,
mm,
because actually it's been a lot easier. And I mean, there's been times when I felt like, you know, I can't do this. I'm going to stop. This is, you know, what am
I
I doing?
remember those, John.
Yes, yeah. You know, I'm on the edge of the cliff, Matt. I can't do this. I've had enough. This is stupid. But actually, when I was writing, I found there was so much healing and restoration in the writing.
Wow.
It was I had so much breakthrough on my journey. It was more than just writing a book. It was that and more, you know. And there was an ease to it which I never thought. I'd actually say now I quite like writing, which is something I've never ever said in my life, you know. And I can read my handwriting back, so that's got better on the journey as well.
That's amazing. Well, John, when the next year, when you start thinking about your second book,
Yeah.
it'll be more believable, won't it?
I've already had two people say that to me, so I'm writing them down. So that might be a new declaration. I'm equipped and able to write my second book.
Absolutely. You totally are. I just love it, love it, love it, love it. And there were moments on the course
Yeah,
where you literally were about to give up.
yeah, yeah,
But you dug deep and you kept going, didn't you?
yeah. I mean, you rung me like separate from the group that we were with, and really encouraged me, because there was times I just thought, what are you doing? What are you doing, John? Writing a book? Like, you, people like you don't write books, you know. It was that, and I had all the doubts and niggles of not good enough and not clever enough, and and I get my words back to front and all this stuff. So, and they still come up now, but I'm definitely got more confidence from writing this. Like I
Mm.
say, it's been more than a book to me. There's been some healing to reflect on some of the stuff that's happened in my life, but there's also been that actually encourage myself that actually, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can do this. I've never ever felt like that in my life. So it's been, when I say it's been more than a book, it really has.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, if you can do this that you didn't think you could do,
yeah,
what else could you do that you've so far told yourself you can't?
yeah. Well, there is that. I'm on a journey in the Church of England in discernment for ordination, which is another, miracle. And my doubts in that was like, the studying, that's going to be too much. It's 3 years of studying. How are you going to do that? There's 1,500 word essays. Now I'm like, 1,500 words?
No
Piece
problem.
of cake, piece of cake. So I think that's helped that next part of, what God's got in store. I think that might have been a moment where I needed to be called off the edge of the cliff as well. But now I'm like, actually, that's possible. That's
Yeah.
possible. Yeah,
Anything is possible.
yeah.
So John, this book now is globally available. What do you hope that it achieves for the people who read it? What do you hope it does in their lives?
You know what? I thought about this a lot, and it's the Bible talks about like God comes for the one, and if one person could read that book and be encouraged, and if they didn't know the Lord or they did, but it drew them closer to God, or it encouraged them to step into who they are and the possibility. If it gave them hope, because I was born into an environment that was hopeless, and now I'm full of hope for the future. I'm full of hope for my children. I'm full of hope for relationships. I'm full of hope for other people. So my hope for the book would be hope that somebody reads it, gets hold of that, and said, "This could be me."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you, John. And thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author, and perhaps you thought you never could, but just like John, you can,
yeah.
then please visit our website, www.publish, the letter u.com, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.